Okay, good afternoon. Hi, everyone. I'm Paul from Refocus Coaching, and thanks for joining me today on this live, where I talk to dads in business about how they manage their energy levels and their health while spinning lots of different plates. And today I'm joined by Martin, if you want to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Paul. Yep, I'm Martin Macleod, the founder of Financial Health Club, and I am a dad who has two kids aged 3 and 8, so definitely still going through the hard times and obviously helping people with their finances. I used to be a stockbroker and chartered financial planner. I wanted to branch out and help people regardless of their wealth, so I help everybody, whether they're wanting to start with their finances, whether they're in a position where they're maybe thinking about how to fund a new lifestyle or retirement, or whether they want to understand investing. I do beginners investing courses, and also I work one-to-one with people on helping them understand how to pick shares in the stock market, which is a skill that most people don't have or don't want to get before they start, which is why the stock market gets such a bad press, because people tend to drive without any lessons when they pick stocks.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I can highly recommend your free 5-day 5 email course is fantastic. So I had that myself. It's really insightful, and you actually give quite a lot of golden information in there.
Yeah, and that was the key, is really to get as many people investing as possible. No longer are there such barriers to entry. You know, when I was a stockbroker, there was high barriers to entry for anybody that wanted to invest. But now anybody can invest with really small amounts. Some of the minimums are £25 a month. Some of them have no minimums. So it's an opportunity with the change in technology that we've had, that anybody can now invest. So it's something that everybody should be doing. Like, even if you can do small amounts and scale that up over time, you'll be amazed the kind of pot of money that it will create with compounding over time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thanks for joining me today. I know your time is precious, and you're an ideal person to talk to in this sort of setup. So these conversations are really about, how somebody who's spinning so many plates and then looking after an 8 and a 3-year-old, which is, they're almost in two different phases of challenge. So it's a tricky one. So I guess the first thing to ask you really is whether there's been, through that time when you've been, managing, setting up and scaling your own business, and then obviously raising a family, have there been any specific issues or hurdles you've had to overcome, or things you've had to deliberately work on in terms of your health and your energy levels?
Yeah, it's definitely much easier when without kids. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt. I think the biggest thing, like everybody says, and it's so true, is sleep. You think that you're ready for not sleeping particularly well, and you think because you've been partying in your youth, you're used to staying up all night and all that kind of stuff. I thought I'll be fine when this happens, but definitely sleep is critical. I think, like, now that I'm back to starting to sleep again after many years of not sleeping through the night, it definitely does change things. It definitely gives you a much improved mindset certainly at each day, because it can be a bit like being in a washing machine going through those first few years, especially because my daughter literally never slept for any more than a few hours. So I guess that can massively impact you, just because you constantly feel a bit drained. So getting back to I'm getting back to playing tennis now again, and getting back into things that I postponed for years, probably because of just wanting to get to sleep as soon as it became 8 o'clock at night, to try and manage that, the fact you've been working all day and you were raising a family.
Yeah, I think when that transition from not being a parent to becoming a parent, sleep is the one thing that you suddenly learn how very important it is. Because, like you said, when you're young, you can you've got that resilience, you've got that bounce back ability. You've also got the ability to have a bloody lie-in when you want to. So you sort of catch up a little bit. But yeah, when that happens, it takes your energy from you completely, and it's not just that you get occasional bad sleep, it's that it compounds a bit like interest on your investment. That loss of sleep compounds over time, and then you're almost trance of existence.
That's what nobody really prepares you for. I think that's what nobody prepares you for, is the fact that all of us could handle a night or two without any sleep, as we all have done in our youth several times and went to work. But nobody prepares you for that, like 7, 8, 9, 10 days of having like no break and no sleep, because that does turn you virtually into a zombie. And then you're obviously focusing on work. And I was obviously at a point where, you know, I did actively take some time out. I was able to do that, but through investing in the stock market, I could change career and take some time out to look after my daughter when she was young. And that was, and also starting a new business under those conditions was tough. So I think, like, having done that part of it, I feel like I now have more time in my hands as my daughter's at nursery. Obviously my son's at school, so and then it then becomes just that wee bit easier, and hopefully that will, you know, continue to be easier, but there'll be new challenges along the way, no doubt.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, you know, from my experience of working with dads, every child is slightly different. So you think you've sussed it with the first one, and then the second one says, no, I'm completely different. and so you're still learning the sort of second time around.
And nobody prepares you for the fact that they'll also pretty much fight over everything, and be one opposite foods and one like opposite things on the television, and you're constantly juggling that. So yeah, I'm sure most people that are parents would understand that. Yeah,
no, definitely. And what did you have a sort of system in place, you and your partner, in terms of managing sleep? And did you have like a strategy as to how you can survive that period?
Yeah, I think like we definitely did, in the respect of I had more time during the day to work on things that I wanted to work on, and I would get up during the night, just because I naturally, I don't know if this comes from my partying days, but I naturally need less probably sleep. My wife needs like 8 or 9 hours sleep, or finds it really difficult, whereas I can function on a lower. I'm not saying I function brilliantly, but I can function. I can get through the day without like chopping somebody's head off. So I felt like I could take that part of it. So that is probably what like made the years kind of tougher in that respect of no sleep. But yeah, it is about finding that balance and act. It's like playing to your strengths. I think that's like what's the one thing that I remember my wife saying to me. You know, like you need to work on your, like, making your strengths even stronger, because at times I was always trying to work on weaknesses, and that's kind of like where I thought to myself, especially when I was setting up my own company, like, what are your strengths? Well, your strengths are like being able to understand finance and pick shares and help people who need it. Like, can you create a company where you can actually do this? Well, before COVID, the answer was no, really, or it would have been really difficult if you were dealing with people just in Glasgow or just in Scotland. But the ability to do this, you know, to think outside the box and improve your strengths, which means, you know, almost focusing on those strengths and making them even stronger, is a lesson that my wife taught me. And I think that's something that definitely helped me get the confidence to create, to walk away from the financial industry, go down to zero income, because my wife hasn't worked for like 9 years. So it's like zero income, zero clients. So there was a risk involved in that, especially when you've got 2 young kids. You've got to it's like make or break. You've got to do something. But that confidence to say, well, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make myself strong. I'm going to work continuously at making myself better. That's definitely a mindset thing that I've always had, is that kind of like confidence within yourself to be pushed forward. And I guess my wife helping me see that working on your strengths, whether that's playing guitar or whether that's like, you know, working on picking stocks, that's a strength of mine that I need, that I can help others with, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I like that a lot. That's some serious wisdom from your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
We do tend to kind of, when we think about self-improvement, we tend to go, well, what are our weaknesses? Let's work on those. But actually, if you spend all your time trying to address weaknesses, it can bring you down a bit, I guess, because it feels like you're battling all the time.
I think that's true, and I think like I've got tons of weaknesses, like ridiculous amounts of weaknesses. Like you would not want me to change like a plug in your house. You would not want me to build anything. Like you would, like in craft and design in high school, they used to give me a Ladybird book to read and say, Macleod, don't you touch anything in here. Like you're gonna kill yourself or kill somebody else. So like I know that, like, even if I work on the fact that I can maybe, like, I could get IKEA furniture and I could spend hours building it, and eventually maybe weeks or months later I might be able to build it, but I'm still going to be useless at it, and I'm still not going to know if it's right, because it's just not what I'm good at. And I've known that for a long time. So I could improve that weakness, or I could get better at what I already do. And I think getting better at what I already do is much stronger for me and going to lead to much more success for me than working on weaknesses. I suppose it's like sports as well. Like I love football, but I'm rubbish at football. I wanted to be brilliant at football, but I'm rubbish at it. But I was always very good at racket sports. I was good at badminton. I was good at tennis. I was good at table tennis. That's just, you've got to sometimes play with the cards you're dealt and think that, okay, what can I get stronger? What's going to be my strengths and what's going to be my weaknesses? And instead of focusing on the wrong stuff, which is what a lot of people do, and bringing themselves up to an average level, what can I do to make, like, what I've got even stronger? And that was kind of my mindset.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And like you said, we have more weaknesses than we have strengths, don't we? That's just natural, because there's so many skills and so much out there that we're always going to have more weaknesses. And I think if you like what you've done, if you think, well, what are my strengths? Let's double down on those. That actually builds momentum. It builds motivation. It builds satisfaction. It's a very positive way to go, I think, because it puts you on the front foot a little bit, doesn't it? And that feels positive to me.
Yeah, and I think like that's you have to. I mean, there are people that are supposedly given God-given talents, but we all definitely do have naturally in our brains strengths and weaknesses, and instead of fighting that, I think a lot of people should really embrace it. And I think that's something that you can see in LinkedIn now. You can see that people are actually sometimes finding a career or a niche away from what they perhaps did before. They're finding something that's their passion, that they're really good at, and they're using it. Like to use my example, when I was, picking stocks, or when I was reading hundreds of books on investing and taking notes on them all, like, I had no idea that would ever at any point in my life return me any money outside the actual stocks. But if you have a passion and you continue researching it and doing it, and the cards align for you almost, like, then you're given that opportunity, as long as you stay true to your passion and stay true to building those strengths. And I think that's what you see. I mean, I always use the example, in Glasgow, there was a guy who invented like the Iron Man character, like, because he all he did was basically, I can't remember his surname, Mark somebody, but he basically has his own studio now. But he made millions from Netflix and millions from the creation of Marvel. But all he did basically was he was continuously just drawing from comic books, but he stayed true to his passion. Like, he stayed true to his passion in the 80s and the 90s, when nobody was caring about Marvel, nobody cared what Batman was, nobody cared what Spider-Man was, nobody cared about any of these characters. He continued to do it, continued to improve himself, and he was given the opportunity when suddenly these things became more popular again, and now he's a multi-millionaire, and he can name his price. But that's somebody who just basically took their passion, became stronger and more intent at getting better at it, and eventually, as I say, the cards aligned for him. And I do have a belief that if you keep going with a passion, that that it can bring some form of success to you. I guess it's even using things like, using things that you don't think will benefit you, like just playing guitar or something like that stupid online, which might be funny, but it brings out that other side of creativity, and something that you can do. So I guess having and following your passions is key to really for your mental health as well, because a lot of people give up. Certainly when I worked, when I started working, I worked in like horrendous jobs where literally you thought there was no way out, and you could see like people who had loads of passions like art and music, and everybody just like hiding all these desires and passions to work in essentially a job that they hated. And it's nice to see the world changing, where people are doing things that they want to do again. I think that's such a nice thing to see. I just wish I was 20 years younger.
So you do it all again,
Yeah, exactly.
Do it sooner. Yeah, no, it's a good point. And actually, I was thinking when you said that even then, if that doesn't turn into an opportunity long term or a thing long term, at least you were enjoying yourself and doing something you believed in along the way.
Yeah.
So that's positive anyway. So I think you should always try and embrace your passion and do something like that anyway. Yeah. I want to kind of touch on, so we spoke a little bit about sleep and that sort of impact. So when I work with my clients one-on-one, I like to work on 4 kind of pillars of health, sleep being one of them, nutrition being another, exercise and movement being another, and then mindset. So when you were going through that sort of phase when the sleep was hit, did those others suffer, or were you able, did you sort of see any difference in terms of, getting out and doing your exercise things and how you were eating and things, or were you able to kind of counter that and keep control of that?
Probably at that time, you were probably eating less tired. I think during the day, I used to do a lot of walking for my own sanity. I think lots and lots of miles, trying to average like 15,000 steps a day, just making sure that you got like enough fresh air, because that massively improves. Like fresh air, walking, great for your creative brain, great for like just making you feel better. So I think when you are up all night, it's key to get some fresh air. Definitely, it's key to get out there. Probably haven't done enough of that over the past few months with various things going on, but yeah, like that is definitely key. That is being out in the fresh air. I'm lucky enough to live in the near the countryside, which is beautiful to go for walks and lovely scenery and things like that. So that's an opportunity that you absolutely have to take when you're up all night, and you're struggling to get that same energy level that you naturally have. Because there's often those times where you're sitting as a parent, you're sitting and it's like 8 o'clock at night, and you're thinking, why did I feel so bad? You're remembering your old life where you used to get up at like 5:30 or 6, and then you'd go to the gym or get a personal trainer, then you'd go like for breakfast, then you go to your work that started at 8 o'clock or whatever, and you think about like all that like huge energy, and you're still up till 11 o'clock at night, and then you feel like almost like a failure, because you think, this is just like, how has this happened? How am I not able to go and do these things? I can't go and play tennis at night. I can't go and do the things that I used to do. So it does have a massive impact in your life. It does. It can like drain your mindset as well a wee bit, because you're not doing the things that you love. So and again, like I didn't spend a lot of time musically. I never played the guitar or the bagpipes or anything like that for during a lot of those times where you just don't have the energy, you don't have the motivation to maybe sit. You've got kids trying to sleep, so you maybe just can't play these musical instruments at night. So there's a big shift to what you did previously. So I guess you've got to adapt and go with the flow. Now I get up early, but I just can't play guitar at 6 a.m.
Yeah, and I think like you said, walking is. I think it can't be overstated enough how important it is just for general human health anyway. And like you've alluded to, it's a really good way to improve your mental state, especially in the days now that we've got where we're busy at work, we've got family stuff going on, we've got other stresses and strains, emotional stresses and strains as well. We're all connected to the world all of the time. So we've got all these other influences coming in, and these all add to our stress levels. So actually disconnecting from things and going outside and just walking and just being yourself in a space and having the wind hit you and seeing the sun and seeing a horizon ideally is hugely beneficial. And you don't have to buy any special equipment. You're not at risk of injury. I mean, you can obviously slip and trip and stuff, but it's low impact generally, rather than playing a sport or going for a run or something. So I think it's a really important thing to try and add in to our days. And yes, it's difficult. When you're in the throes of a young child, especially, it's quite difficult. But like you've said, you definitely feel the benefit from it. And it kind of feels counterintuitive almost, doesn't it? If you're exhausted and tired and feeling down, it feels counterintuitive to go for a walk, but actually it does really energize your body and your mind. So it's always worth trying to fit that in.
Yeah, just as a stress reliever, it's always good anyway, just naturally to be out in the fresh air. And I think it works well for the creative mind. I think when you're out and about, sometimes that's when the best ideas pop up. about whether it's about your business or whether it's about content, or you will normally find that when you get that chance, especially just to go walking or run or whatever on your own, it just clears your mind. Or even just, it can be sitting in transport, even just to chill out, sitting in a train. Lots of great ideas or songs will come to me sitting in a train, just thinking about something completely random. It's just the way that your brain works as soon as you get that ability to relax, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Something I like to kind of ask people that I talk to is whether there's any sort of person or system or a podcast or a book or anything like that that's really kind of helped you in terms of your kind of your lifestyle setup and protecting your energy and and having that sort of focus and drive that you've got.
I'm sure there's probably lots of mindset books that I've read as part of, behavioural finance and things like that have helped with my personal life as well. But I would definitely have to say my wife, because my wife definitely is great for helping me. I'd stay on the straight and narrow. I would say I would definitely think it's a good idea. What is this Tuesday? I would definitely think it's a good idea to say, we just get a Chinese tonight, or we just get. And my wife definitely always say no chance. Like we're eating salmon, so definitely my mind will naturally, after a stressful day, maybe go towards some wrong foods. So that is definitely my best influence. So I would definitely have to say my wife.
Yeah. No, that's a great answer. And I think a lot of guys often don't give enough credit to their partner. They're sort of like, a lot of people will call their wife or their partner their rock or their anchor. And I think that's kind of true, because men tend to excuse themselves a bit sooner, maybe, than a lot of women do, in terms of, making an excuse and doing something, taking the easy option, or potentially being a bit more risky with their choices. So I think that's great that you're giving credit to that awesome person that's there for you, but also kind of gives you permission as well. So obviously, with your work and being able to take that risk that you did, that's a team effort, isn't it? You can't do that, by yourself necessarily, especially when you're trying to raise a family.
Yeah, and I think like calculated risk, or I always write in my posts about the greatest risk being no risk, and that is definitely the case with investing. That is, protecting cash will make you poorer, and the idea that staying in a job that makes you miserable will make you poorer as well, mentally. So you only have got one chance, to live your best life. And I know that there's thousands, if not millions, of people that work in the financial industry that would absolutely love to have done what I've done. They'd love to walk away from it. They just talk every day about their pensions. They talk every day about trying to get a better car and living off other people's money. I don't have to worry about what my clients have. They can have £1,000 or they could have 10 million. I can still help them. It doesn't matter what they've got. I don't sell any products. I don't need to. I just want them to have more. I just want them to have more success. I want them to learn some of the things that will really massively help them not be taken advantage of. So that's a good position to be in. And as I say, instead of sitting in groups talking about what's going to happen in 20 years when you retire, which is what a lot of people in finance do because they're miserable, it was great to be able to walk away from that and be able to actually do something which is meaningful. And I'm helping people in beginners investing courses that are 21. I'd love to have a time machine and go back to 21 and teach myself this stuff. That would be like the dream. So being able to do it for 21-year-olds now is amazing to me. It's because that's what I wanted to do when I was working in finance. I would sit in the office and I used to say that to people. I'd love to help people and educate them, and they just used to laugh and say, "Yeah, go and be a teacher." And I say, no, I don't want to be a teacher. I want to help people understand money, because this stuff is not complex. That's why that's why you're doing it to these people, because it's not complex. These people are often failed salespeople and passed a few multiple choice exams. So it was like, this is not being like a doctor or a lawyer. This is not difficult stuff to understand. You must be able to back yourself to do this. If you can go to B&Q, buy white paint and paint your own living room, you can do that for cheap. Or you can pay somebody as an interior designer to do it for every year for the rest of your life. But it's much easier to learn to paint your own living room. So that's what I want to encourage people to do. Money is not that difficult. Trust me.
Yeah.
Think of every single intelligent person at your school, and I'll guarantee none of them have probably work in finance. So, like, back yourself to get this stuff. It's not that complicated. It just wasn't taught in school. But once it's taught to you, it's like driving lessons. It's like swimming lessons. Once you're taught it, you don't forget it. So and it never changes. It hasn't changed in 100 years. Same reason as like driving and swimming haven't changed. When you learn to drive, you drive forever. When you learn to swim, you swim forever. When you learn about finance, money, investing, it never changes. It's always the same process. You just need to learn it. Once you've learned it, that's it. Make money forever. Don't have to pay people to do it for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's a massively valuable lesson, isn't it? And it's definitely missing from our schooling system. So, for you to be able to be working with, young people and helping them get that understanding now, they probably they won't even realize how much they need to thank you until years down the line. But, they will, certainly.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's not only will they save hundreds of thousands in charges by understanding how to do it themselves, but they'll make hundreds of thousands, if not millions more. So, in theory, they will be very glad, if not now, but they will certainly be very glad in 10, 20, 30 years that they actually reached out and got the help, because most people don't, and they wait till it's too late. And when it is too late, that's the time that you want a time machine, and that's the one thing that you can't get, unfortunately.
Yeah. So just to finish off, I want to kind of ask you, so around, thinking about protecting your energy and your health, have you got any daily non-negotiables that you always deliver on, or always try and deliver on around that sort of area?
I always get up very early and make sure that I spend time with my kids. I always, make sure that I put my kids to bed. Spending time with my kids and spending time with my family is the most important thing to me. That's why I wanted to move away from the corporate industry. The idea that people would be out their house for 12 to 14 hours. When I remember going for a job interview in finance, in Glasgow, and the husband and wife who owned the company, said, we expect you to be in here from, say, 6 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night. And he said, it's perfectly normal for us to go home and have dinner with our kids at 9:30 at night. And I said, that's not in any way normal to me. I said, I have no desire to be like you. I don't care how much money you've got. Money does not interest me at all in that respect. I want to spend time with my family. You could pay me 10 million quid and I'm not taking the job. So I just walked out the interview. I mean, I don't want to work for people like that, and I didn't want to work with people like that. And that's because the idea that that's everything that I stand against. So, spending time with my family, that's a non-negotiable. That's why I do what I do. I have lots of time to spend with my kids, lots of time to spend with my wife, and that is exactly why I do what I do.
Yeah. No, I have to agree with you 100%. That's the most important non-negotiable, I think, is putting that time aside for the most important people in your life. Because that's the one thing, we sort of spoke about end of life a little bit. And when you're lying in that bed, taking your last breaths, you're not going to care a bit about the money in the bank.
No, exactly.
Or the career you had. You're going to care about the people that matter to you.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing that you want more of at the end is time. So why not take more time out just now? And what money gives you is choice and time to do what you want to do, because it gives you the ability to do more of what you love with who you love. That's why making your money work harder instead of spending too much of it on Amazon is so important. You work hard for your family, so let's see it in your bank account. Let's see it. Let's see it. You're working hard for your family, so show me how much you care about your family. Start paying something towards them. Start investing. Don't be spending all your money on things that'll end up in the bin, or end up on Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace. Spend it on your family. Spend it on your future.
Yeah, here. Great. So I know we're tight on time today, and we're coming up to the half an hour. This little message popped up. So you've got a fan that was watching, which is nice. So happy to have Macleod on. So if people kind of want to connect with you or catch up with the work that you're doing, where's best for them to get in contact with you? And if you've got anything going on in the new year that's worth people getting in touch with you for?
Yeah, I've got my next cohort of my beginners investing course starts in February, so that'll be the 5th one. So if anybody wants to get on board with that, just send me a message on LinkedIn or the website is obviously financialhealthclub.co.uk. And yeah, it's great to be able to help the beginners, not only because a lot of them obviously become clients anyway as a matter of course, but because giving people that ability to do it for themselves and take an interest in it and understand how easy it is, it just gets more and more people investing, more and more people that will definitely change their lives and their kids' lives when they start. So it's so important. And as I say, the groups cohort makes it easily accessible for most people.
Yeah, brilliant. That's great. And just so people know what I'm up to in the new year, I'll be running my very popular 5 days of free coaching for dads, which is basically an opportunity to sort of plan and think about things in a little bit of a different way in terms of improving your health. So if you've got health concerns or you wanted to lose weight in a sustainable way and you've sort of yo-yoed in the past, then this 5 days is going to help you to really put a proper solid plan in place. And I can take 10 plus people into that in January. So have a look at my website where you can sign up for that. So thank you once again, Martin, for your time. It's been a really awesome chat.
Thank you very much for inviting me on. It's been great. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thanks. See ya. Bye.